Hello listeners and welcome back to Sandman Stories Presents. Today we are taking a look at 3 more stories from Chinese folklore, recorded by Mary Hayes Davis and Chao Leung. In the first story we'll learn how the whole body must work together if we are to survive. In the second story, Fox has a big mouth, but Crab has a sharp mind. And in the third story, we learn that every rose has its thorn. No, not really. We learn that even flowers with thorns such as the rose are also valuable to us. Okay, let's begin. Story number 1. The body that deserted the stomach. Man's body is a perfect and wonderful thing. His hands are strong to do, his feet are strong to walk. His nose judges whether things are good to eat. His ears hear clearly. His eyes help him to see all the things of the world and to study books. His brain can think great thoughts, and so we call the body of man a perfect thing. But one day, the different parts of man's body quarreled among themselves about the work. Many complaints were brought against the stomach. The hands and feet said, "We work all day and yet we are nothing. Do you know who we work for?" The eyes said, "We find many chickens, fish, eggs, and much rice and tea for the stomach. He takes all and does no work for it. He does not even think. And though he never does anything for us, we are always working for him." Then they all agreed to refuse to work any longer for the stomach. They said, "Tomorrow we will tell the heart and have him judge who is to be blamed." So the next day the tongue told the brain about it, and the brain said, "I will see the judge tonight." When the heart heard the story, he said, "Yes, you are right. If all of you lie down and refuse to help the stomach, if you do not give him any rice or meat for food, or any tea for drink, he will learn then that he cannot live without you." In a little time the stomach wanted food, and said to the hands, "Give me a piece of fish, some rice, and a cup of tea." The hands were quiet and said nothing. Then the stomach said to the feet, "Will you go out and have the menyen bring me a bowl of chop suey mian? I am hungry." The feet answered, "No, sir. We will not work for you any more," and they lay down. The stomach cried for food, but all said, "We do not care. We will not work for him." After a while, the eyes found that they could not see well, and in the theater hall next door, the drums drummed hard, but the ears could not hear. The heart judge said, "How is it now with the stomach?" The brain answered, "We are not working for him, nor helping him any more, and I believe he is going to die. I fear that I too will die, and that the others will die. I do not believe we have done right in deserting the stomach. Do you not think it best to tell the feet to go out and bring the stomach some chop suey min? If he had that, he might help us again. We shall all surely die unless we have his aid." But the unwise judge said, "Let him get his own food. Let him do his work for himself." "He cannot do that," said the brain. "He lives in a palace with great walls around him, so he cannot get out. The hands and feet have always brought his food to him." The judge said, "Has he spoken about it today?" And the brain answered, "No." So they agreed to leave the stomach to himself one day longer. But that night they were all found dead, for they could not live without each other. This fable was told by the Chinese general Tzi to the Chinese emperor about 1200 years ago. The emperor had been angry at a province of his own people, and he wished to send this general with soldiers to kill them. But the general would not go, and in his argument with the emperor, he used this fable to illustrate his reasons for objection, and to show the necessity of each part to all. This fable was translated into Japanese in 1891, and the Japanese have added the following itsu, meaning, the stomach means the emperor. The hands, eyes, feet, all parts of the body represent the people. Again, the stomach is like a mother, the other parts being the children, so each one of the people must do something for his nation and emperor. Each child must do something for the family and the mother. These things must be if the nation is to be powerful, or if the family is to be strong and united. The end. Story number 2. The Proud Fox and the Crab. One day a fox said to a crab, "Crawling thing, did you ever run in all your life?" "Yes," said the crab. "I run very often to the mud and the grass, and back to the river." "Oh, shame," said the fox. "That is no distance to run. How many feet and legs have you?" "I have only 4. Why, if I had as many feet as you have, I would run at least 6 times as fast as you do. Did you know that you are really a very slow, stupid creature? Though I have only 4 feet, I run 10 times as far as you do. I have never heard of anyone with so many feet as you have running so slowly." The crab said, "Would you like to run a race with a stupid creature like me? I will try to run as fast as you. I know I am small. So suppose we go to the scales and see how much heavier you are. As you are 10 times larger than I, of course you will have to run 10 times faster. Another reason why you can run so fast is because you have such a fine tail and hold it so high. If you would allow me to put it down, I do not think you could run any faster than I." "Oh, very well," said the fox contemptuously. "Do as you like, and still the race will be so easy for me that I will not even need to try. Your many legs and your stupid head do not go very well together. Now, if I had my sense and all your legs, no creature in the forest could outrun me. As it is, there are none that can outwit me. I am known as the sharp-witted. Even man says, 'Kwai kwat woi lai,' sly as a fox. So do what you will, stupid one." "If you will let me tie your beautiful tail down so it will stay," said the crab, "I am sure I can win the race." "Oh no, you cannot," said the fox. "But I will prove to even your stupid slow brain that it makes no difference. Now, how do you wish that I should hold my tail?" The crab said, "If you allow me to hang something on your tail to hold it down, I am sure that you cannot run faster than I." "Do as you like," said the fox. "Allow me to come near," said the crab, "and when I have fastened it to your tail, I will say 'ready,' then you are to start." So the crab crawled behind and caught the fox's tail with his pincers and said, "Ready." The fox ran and ran until he was tired, and when he stopped, there was the crab beside him. "Where are you now?" said the crab. "I thought you were to run 10 times faster than I. You are not even ahead of me with all your boasting." The fox, panting for breath, hung his head in shame and went away where he might never see the crab again. Yi zi, meaning, a big, proud, boastful mouth is a worse thing for a man than it is for a fox. The end. Okay, and story number 3, A Little Chinese Rose. One day, Mei Kuei, Little Rose, ran home angry to her mother, saying, "Mu Tsing, I do not want my name to be Rose any longer. I was in Dunkuri's garden just now, and she asked me, 'Which flower do you like best in all our garden?' And I said, 'I like my name flower best.' Then they all laughed and said, 'We do not. Do you not see the thorn on the roses? When we pass near, we tear our dresses. When we touch them, blood flows from our hands. No, we do not like roses. The baby cow does not like them either. They stick her nose when she tries to eat, and even mother cannot pick them without scissors. Once she had a large bunch of roses. Little sister tried to get one, and it stuck her hands and face so that she cried for many hours. Other flowers do not make troubles like that, and we do not see why anyone likes the rose best. We think it is very foolish to like a trouble flower and be named for it." I do not like my name flower any more, Mutsing, and I do not want to bear its name. Do not cry, dear child, said the mother, and I will tell you some things about the rose. Do you like rose sugar? Yes, very much, Rose answered, her face growing bright. And rose oil? Oh, yes, Mutsing. I thought you did not like the rose, so you ought not to like the good things that it makes. But Mutsing, tell me, why did the rose god make the rose grow with so many thorns? Other flowers are not like that. Listen, dear child. If the rose tree were like the other trees and still had its beautiful flowers, I think we should never have any for ourselves. They would be too easily gathered. The rose god was very wise and put his thorns all around his beautiful flower. When he made it, he gave it an odor so sweet that all the other gods stopped working on the day that it was finished. The thorns mean, honor the rose which grows forever. The cows cannot touch it, and the pigs will never go near it, and careless children or wasteful people cannot destroy it. Do you see, dear, why the rose must have thorns? The next morning, Rose found in her room a beautiful new rose pillow made of sweet-smelling petals. When she laid her head on this fragrant pillow, she said, Mutsing, I do not wish to change my name. The end. I like in the first story how people are reminded to work together. I'm not so pleased with the emperor as parent and people as children analogy. That feels very strange and anachronistic. The second story reminded me of the zodiac animals and how the rat held onto the tail of another animal and jumped to the head of the line that way. Also, there was a story of the South African bird, the Tinky, who jumps for a ride on the back of vulture and claims the top spotted bird by flying the highest. That was all the way back on episode 74 of this podcast. And in the third story, I quite enjoyed the kid wanting to change their name. As someone who teaches EFL to students, I've seen a wide variety of names over the years. Sometimes kids pick their own names, resulting in Batman and Banana Choco Milk. And sometimes their parents pick them names, which results in what feels like super old-fashioned names to me, like Esther and Eugene. But they're people's names, so we have to respect them. And sometimes they abandon the weirdness of picking an English name for class and just go with their given name, which is their right. My only request is for consistency. Please don't change your name 4 times in a semester, because I'm sure I'll make a mistake. But respect the names that people want to use. That's their name. And the podcast shout-out goes to Nuzzle House. This is a really fun and wonderful podcast where Glenn and his trademarked Glenergy transport a grouchy middle-aged divorced dad into an engaging storyteller. Some of his stories are from the public domain, and so contain some of the uglier parts of yesteryear's lack of social enlightenment. Or he reads modern independent authors who might have some adult themes. The kids can sit this podcast out. He has a distinctive voice that will charm and suck you in for a whole episode. And from time to time, real life drops in, like when in the middle of one of his stories, his daughter dropped in and just had to tell him about a book she was reading. It was really wholesome. And so go and give Nuzzle House a listen. And if you like it as much as I do, go and give him a 5-star rating on Podchaser or Good Pods or iTunes or Spotify. And our listener shout-out is to St. Paul, Minnesota. You are 48% of my listeners from Minnesota. I have never been to the Twin Cities, but some of my favorite hip-hop from the 90s and 2000s came from Minnesota. From the Rhymesayers crew to Brother Ali to Idea, rest in peace Mikey, to POS to Los Nativos, there's a lot of good hip-hop up there. Thank you to my Midwestern people, and Fargo is a classic. I'm also fairly sure that Nuzzle House and Ye Olde Crime Podcast are somewhere in the frozen white north. Thank you, and good night.